All right, let's get into it. We're always talking about the massive problem we have with plastic. But what about the solutions? Well, today, we're going to look at a really fascinating material that makes a super bold claim. A plastic that actually gives back to nature what we take from it. This is the story of NonOilen.
Just take a second and really think about that question. What if every single piece of plastic, when you were done with it, didn't end up as pollution forever? What if it just went back into the soil? Imagine what that would change. Well, that's exactly the future we're going to explore today.
But before we can really appreciate the solution, we have to do a quick refresh on the problem. We all know plastic has a dark side, but let's get really specific about what we're up against.
It really boils down to three big things. First, your typical plastics, they're made from petroleum. Yep, a non-renewable fossil fuel. Second, making and tossing them pumps greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. And third, and this is the part that keeps me up at night, they break down into these tiny microplastics that are getting into everything. Our water, our soil, even our bodies. And they stick around for centuries. That's the challenge we need to solve.
And that brings us to the hero of our story. This material, NonOilen, was born from a team-up between scientists at the Slovak Technical University and a company called Panara, and it was designed from the ground up to be completely different.
I mean, the name itself pretty much tells you everything you need to know about its mission. You've got non, as in no, oil for petroleum, and N for environment. It's literally right there in the name. A plastic made without oil for the good of the planet.
So how does it stack up against the problems we just mentioned? Well, it's not made from fossil fuels. It is 100% bio-based. It can be mechanically recycled over and over to extend its life. And this is the real game changer. When you can't recycle it anymore, it can be completely composted. It breaks down fully without leaving a single tiny microplastic behind.
So the big idea here isn't just about being a little eco-friendly in one way. It's about creating a complete closed loop, a truly circular journey that starts with nature and ends by going right back to nature.
Let's just follow its path for a second. It all starts as renewable biomass, so think plants. From there, it's turned into products we can use every day. Then, those products can be recycled, but when they've reached the end of the line, they don't go to a landfill. Nope, they go into a compost bin, where tiny microorganisms break it all down into water, CO2, and biomass, basically becoming food for the very earth it came from.
And this quote just brilliantly sums up their whole philosophy. It's about a massive shift in thinking, right? We're moving away from that old take, make, waste model to a circular one, where we just borrow from nature for a little while and then give it right back.
Okay, this is one of the most important things to get. A lot of other bioplastics make you choose. You can either recycle it or you can compost it, but NonOilen is designed for both. The idea is you recycle it for as long as you possibly can to save energy and resources, and only when it's truly at the end of its life does it go back to the earth through composting. You really get the best of both worlds.
All right, so it's obviously great for the planet, but let's be real. Is it actually useful? I mean, does it perform like the plastics we're used to? Well, the answer is a huge, resounding yes. This is not a material that asks you to compromise on quality.
And we're not talking about some flimsy niche material here. NonOilen is already being used for a ton of different things. Everything from commercial packaging and cutlery to high-tech stuff like filaments for 3D printers. It's built for the real world.
And the performance is seriously impressive. Check this out. It can handle boiling water temperatures, over 100 degrees Celsius. It's totally dishwasher safe for stuff you want to reuse. And it's got great barrier properties, which makes it perfect for food packaging. This isn't just a green alternative, it's a high-performance one.
But hey, don't just take my word for it. Let's look at the data, because this comparison chart tells the whole story. Look at these other common bioplastics, like PLA or PHA. They check a lot of the boxes, for sure, but none of them check every box. Some can't handle the heat. Others can't be mechanically recycled. Some aren't very flexible. But now, look all the way over at that final column for NonOilen. It's the only one on this list that gets a check mark for every single thing you'd want in a modern, sustainable, high-performance plastic. It's the whole shebang.
Which of course leaves us with a pretty massive question. We started out just imagining a world where plastic could simply return to the earth. What NonOilen shows us is that this isn't science fiction anymore. It's material science. It is a profound change in how we think about the stuff we make. So what do you think? Could a no-compromise, truly circular material like this actually be the beginning of the end for plastic pollution? Definitely something to think about.